Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
It is always gratifying whenever I read through the texts of our ancestors, the beautiful literature of our people, to realize that people have been idiots forever. I don't just mean the obvious idiocy that happens, in various of the major narratives. I mean some of the underlying day-to-day, run-of-the-mill stupidity that our ancestors used to get up to. You see, in this part of Bamidbar, we talk an awful lot about vows. Most famously, we talk about the vow of a Nazarite, something that we'll see even more in tomorrow's full reading, as well as in the Haftarah dealing with Samson's foretelling. But vows were not just used for big things like becoming a Nazarite. And vows weren't just used to do a dedication of something for the altar. Vows were often used in stupid, petty arguments. Rabbinic literature is full of people getting into fights, oftentimes with their spouses, and saying something along the lines of, with the formal vowing phrase, I swear, it's a little bit more complicated than that, but I swear I will never talk to you again because of what you have done. All right, so pretty stupid. I grew up seeing enough reruns of I Love Lucy and Dick Van Dyke Show to know what kind of result happens from such a stupid kind of promise. But you see, there was an added wrinkle in the ancient world. The added wrinkle, of course, was that with the formal formula of making a vow, it wasn't enough to just say, oh, I'm so sorry, Ricky, hug and erase the chalk line down the center of the room. You actually had to officially revoke the vow, which was not something that could just be done casually. It would require a beit din, and of course, if you broke the vow without having properly revoked it, then you had committed another transgression, you were responsible for a sacrifice, you were in trouble. This was not something that should be ever done casually, and yet, by rabbinic literature's records, it certainly was. The rabbis had to deal with how to explain to people how to avoid these types of vows, but also what to do when the stupid words had come out of their lips. Now, we are lucky in the modern world. Nobody vows like that anymore, which is probably a good thing, because those vows would be much harder to deal with now, especially if they are broken, as we don't officially have a sacrificial service. You can do tshuva in the normal way, but it's better that people are not going around vowing like that. However, we are still stupid. And we have found something to take the place of those kinds of vows. Those kinds of vows have been replaced in the modern world with ultimatums. Everybody's favorite way to get the upper hand in a good argument, right? Give them an ultimatum. Either you do what I say or else, and fill in the blank, right? So you're not swearing to God that you will no longer be doing X, Y, and Z. Instead, you are saying that this is their final chance, that you will not take any more guff from them, and that they had better shape up or else. Or ship out perhaps, right? Or maybe I'll leave, right? Either you give me a raise, boss, or I'm out of here on Friday. Or you either start cooking my favorite meal whenever I ask for it, or else I'm filing for a divorce. What stupidity. What stupidity. There's lots of problems with ultimatums. Not just the fact that it makes it sound like you think you are in charge of whatever the situation is, but the underlying premise is in fact fundamentally flawed. People think that an ultimatum gives them power, because now I am putting my chips on the table and I am calling your bluff. I dare you to match me for this ultimatum. And what is of course going to be the problem? Someone might. They'll call you bluff. Yeah. Where do you go once you have put all your chips on the table and they have said, I'm not impressed. You don't have any more chips to play. There's no room to go. And backing down from such a move only makes you look like an idiot. See, the thing is, when you actually make an ultimatum, you are transferring all of the power to your opponent. We don't act like it, we don't feel like it, but in fact that is what is happening. Think of the power dynamic. I have now given you the decision over me. I'm no longer in charge of me because I'm putting my foot down, but you're now in charge of me because you can either tell me to get lost at which point I kind of have to, or I am greatly diminished within your eyes. Or you can give in, but you are still giving in on your terms. It is still your choice, not mine, and you are still giving in only to what I demanded. What if, in fact, there would have been a better solution that had not been just what I demanded? What if, in fact, had we, discussed the issue, talked about the problem? What if we had actually expressed what it was that we were hoping to achieve rather than merely the demand that we were looking to have the other capitulate to? And maybe in our discussion we had found that there was a solution superior to the first thing that had popped into my mind that I was now laying down as the ultimatum. Imagine that. Imagine the capacity to reach a better resolution simply by actually listening to what the other person wants and stating what you want. Not what you demand, but what you are looking for in this exchange. You see, we often confuse ourselves in this. We get a certain feeling, I don't think my boss is treating me fairly. And that feeling might in fact be true. But then in our mind, something occurs to us of what it would take for my boss to treat me fairly. I'm demanding a 50% raise. Okay, that's something you can demand. But A, you probably don't have much of a chance of getting that particular raise. And B, it could be that the unfair treatment that you're feeling is not just because you have been undervalued in the income department. It could be that your boss constantly belittles you. It could be that your boss constantly puts extra pressure on you, asks of you to do things beyond the normal time limits of your job, asks you to do things beyond your normal responsibilities. And imagine your boss says, okay, you know what? I'll keep you as my flunky. I'll keep you as the whipping boy that I can humiliate in front of others and belittle inside the conference meetings. I'll keep you after hours and 100 hours a week and make you pick up my dry cleaning, and all I have to do is pay you 50% extra? Deal. Are you better off? Financially, you are a little better off. But are you actually satisfied with the outcome? Do you feel now that you are being treated fairly because your ultimatum got you the thing that you thought might solve it? Whereas if you had actually stopped, considered what it was that led to those feelings of unfairness, and then brought those to your boss's attention, you then might be able to find a better solution. And indeed, in this particular case that I have just outlined, the better solution might be not a raise, but an exit. Sometimes the thing that we put forward as our ultimatum is not actually going to solve the problem that is truly at the heart of the issue, and we are not going to be satisfied with that resolution. Our ancestors were stupid. We know this. We have records of it. We are stupid. We know this. We live through this constantly. But we don't have to continue to make the same mistakes. All of us will make mistakes, all of us. But we can begin to learn to see the signs of those mistakes as they're growing inside of us, and we can begin to take steps to avoid them. We've already outgrown the use of reckless vows, and hopefully we can outgrow the use of reckless ultimatums. There is certainly a time for lines in the sand, but nothing is more humiliating than realizing the line you drew is either going to be breached or insufficient. Instead, talk to the person that you are having the difficulty with. Explain exactly where you are coming from and see what solution will present itself when you work together. Shabbat Shalom.